Okay, if everyone is ready, we'll get started with Coach Stoops. If you would raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. Start right here in the middle, Coach.
Hi, Coach. Chris Womack, CBS 42 in Birmingham. What was the biggest step that you wanted to see your team take this offseason?
Well, we got to continue to grow and to change our culture to a winning culture, and that comes a lot of different ways. It's easy to change the climate of a program and do some things to get the energy going and all that, but the culture is very deep-rooted. It takes a commitment from a lot of people. Continue to have that support from our administration, and I appreciate everything that they've done for us. Our coaches, our players, everybody in our facility has worked hard to create that positive attitude and create that culture that you need. The second big area that I've talked a little about today is just capacity. You know, our team needs to be able to handle more. Whether it's mental, physical, whatever it is, we need to be able to handle more. That attention to detail, concentrate longer in meetings, concentrate longer in the classroom, have longer training sessions, lift more, run more, have longer, more strenuous practices. As you get more physical and mentally be able to handle those things, you could push them more and more. That's a big area of concentration for us this past year.
Hey, Coach, Brett Bielema was in here talking about you guys.
Oh, no.
Here it comes. Adventures on the road and that kind of thing. Did you see at that point, the ability, the potential that he had, and what do you think of what he's done?
Yeah, I really do. At that point in time, we were young and having fun, but both really aggressive and enjoying what we've done in the profession. We were young single guys, and you go out on the road and you work extremely hard all day long, and then you might go enjoy yourself a bit, at night and just spend some quality time. That's where you build those bonds, those friendships that you know over all these years. But I knew Brett had great potential. He worked extremely hard. And it was fun. I've learned a lot from him, as he became a head coach before I did, and just watch him and seeing his success. And we've had a great friendship, throughout the years, and we'll still bang heads every now and then. But I was telling him a story there in the main room, Brett, big bad Brett, and I love him. He's done a great job, and a big burly guy. His teams are always extremely physical, well coached in the whole deal, and comes off with that big persona. And then we share a room up there. And so every year it's been nice because I know him so well. But his crew and mine, we get up there, and in between they were getting done and we were coming down, so we got a chance to see each other for 5 minutes or whatever. And I saw his lovely wife Jen and the big burly guy up there with these two little dogs that are this big. Barking and trying to bite us and all that, and it's kind of funny. So I wanted to put that out there. But he's also gone now, so he can't come back and say nothing about me. He'll probably be tweeting something later.
Following up on that, Coach, he said he would not room with you by choice. What are your thoughts?
He had a choice. we needed to save the money, so we stayed together. That was the deal. It was interesting at that the story that he's talking about when we were just getting started. And I'm a coach at Wyoming, and they gave us a per diem where you didn't have to turn in a receipt. You could do what you want. You could sleep in your car. You could get a nice hotel. You could get a cheap hotel. You could do whatever. So I would pocket the money, stay with him, and then I'd buy his dinner. Yeah. He buys now.
Kane O'Neill, WJHL, Johnson City, Tennessee. Coach, you started off hot each of the last 2 seasons, but JoJo said you just haven't found consistency down the stretch. How do you find it this year and finally get this team over this 5-7 hump? Yeah,
I think part of it goes back to the training, to everything we've done from the end of the season last year to the start of the season this year, and throughout that second half that you're talking about. Part of it goes to that word that I'm talking about, and that capacity to train more, to concentrate longer, to be able to handle those things. We can't be a fragile football team. We've got to be physical enough and be strong enough mentally to handle the stresses of this league. You have to prepare yourself to endure what it takes to be successful for an entire season and play the very best you can. There's very few teams in college football that play a perfect game every week. The key is being able to win when you're not at your best. And you got to increase that margin. And our margins have been very small. As we get better, as we improve, as we get depth, and as we train more, as I've talked about, we'll put ourselves in a position to finish those games and to finish the season.
Right here in the middle.
Coach John Wilson with KBTX and College Station. What would it mean for your program to be able to get back to the postseason?
Well, I think it'll mean a great deal. It's a must for us. We know that. Our fans are starving. In this day and age, when you walk into a program, everybody says, I know it's going to take X amount of years, and when you get there, that seems extremely long. We're disappointed. We had our opportunities. I feel like we've lost some close games, but there's only been one game since I've been there where we really felt like we definitely outplayed an opponent and lost. That can't happen because we don't have that margin for error. We don't have that luxury. We have to play our very best. We have to win the games we're supposed to win. We're underdogs in most of the games we play, but we've had our chances, and we will get there. And we've done all the things that I just talked about and more. We put ourselves in a position to close that gap.
Coach John Lewis from WDRB in Louisville. JoJo and some of the other players have talked about finishing. Is that an after effect or a product of that last game? And do you worry about lingering effects of that last game as you head into this new year?
I don't worry about later effects or negative effects of that. If we want to use that as motivation, we should. Because you talk about finishing the season, and there's no better example than the last game of the year when you're up 21 points and can't finish it out. That's a situation that we've got to get fixed. And again, it comes from all the areas that I've touched on quite frequently today to put ourselves in a position to do that.
Right here in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 of your first 5 games are against SEC opponents, including Florida and Alabama. Just how challenging is that to start off the year against those guys?
It's always challenging. Our league is extremely challenging. We have a tough schedule. We always have Louisville on the schedule, along with Southern Miss, to open the season, which had a great year a year ago and is a very strong team. And so we always have a challenging schedule. And going on the road and playing an SEC opponent, you all know what it's like. It's not easy. And that's what makes it hard as you're building your program. And that, we can't let it negatively affect us and our confidence, because we just got to continue to do the things that we can do to put ourselves in a position to win and continue to progress.
Right over here in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, which program do you think is under more pressure to win or more scrutiny? Alabama football or Kentucky basketball?
Oh, I have no idea, but I know they're both difficult, and the expectations are there. But, as I also said in the main room, when I said I knew very clearly what I was getting into at Kentucky and what I'm in the middle of. But tell me one job that's not hard. Tell me one. I know Alabama's difficult. That's a big monster that you have to feed. But there's all of these jobs are difficult.
Mark, you've talked to us about this, about the fact that you do not want to call plays on offense. Could you talk now about your comfort level with your offense now that you've got a guy you know really well in Eddie Grant, and also about the way your quarterback is developing and your running backs are rotating and all that stuff? Yeah,
I think it was extremely important hire for me, as you know, with my expertise being on defense. There was a lot of critical areas that we had to get into. The first thing and foremost was I know exactly what I'm getting with Eddie Grant. When I hired him, I know exactly what I'm getting. I know the type of person he is and the great person that he is and his values. I know what kind of leader he is, and that was extremely important for me to have a guy that has that command and has that leadership ability. He has to command that side of the ball. I know his attention to detail. In his work ethic. He's an unbelievable recruiter. So there is no doubt in my mind that I'm very pleased to have him. With the addition of Darren Henshaw, who comes with the familiarity of coming from Cincinnati and working with him as the co-offense coordinator and working with the quarterbacks. And I've seen tremendous growth in Drew. You're a local guy, and you've seen it as well, I believe, because there's nothing fake about it. He's maturing. He's doing the things necessary off the field. That was evident when his best effort in the classroom by far. He was on the dean's list and had a great year in the classroom. And I love his demeanor. I can't stand people that are fake. You know, if you may like me or not like me, but I try to just be who I am. And I like our players to do that. And just because you're the head, you're the head coach, or if you're the starting quarterback, you can't. You know, the fake rah and all that stuff doesn't hold. You know, doesn't hold any water. Our players, they'll see right through that. And I just like his approach. I like the way he's working. He does have command. He does have respect because of what he's doing and how he's doing it. So he's really grown. He was very comfortable on the field. That part of that is knowing that he had this opportunity. It was his time, and he's really grown. So he needs to continue to do that.
Right here.
Don't make me regret those words.
Hey, Coach, right here, Cassie Hill, WCGB. Curious, the game you said that the one game that you thought you almost had it, was that triple overtime in Gainesville?
There was probably several. That was one of several that I'm thinking of, but no, that was 2 years ago.
It was.
I was more thinking of last year.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you who that was. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to disrespect anybody, because the bottom line is you either win or you lose. We're a results-based business, and we lost. And so that's it.
That Florida game is right there at the front of both of y'all's schedules every year. Do you think one of the reasons it is so tough is because it's that first big hurdle that you have to get over?
Are you talking about I didn't hear the beginning of that. You're talking about the Florida game?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Just in general, year to year.
Yeah, it is early. It is early. It's been a big game. They've been all very close games. Our first year, you know, we had an opportunity to cut it to a one-score game late, but we never really were in that game. As I felt like that on the sideline, I felt like we were behind the whole time. It wasn't a good matchup. The past 2 years, it's been very close games, and we've had our opportunities, and we've got to put our players in a position to make those plays to win the games.
Right here.
Coach Stoops, Stephen Gunner, WSFA Montgomery. Did you get a chance at all to kind of see what Neil Brown did in his first year at Troy as a head coach, and what do you expect him to continue to do and grow as a head coach? Yeah,
I keep in touch with Neil. I really did not have the opportunity to watch many of his games, but I have very little doubt that he'll be successful. He is a hard-working guy with a great plan. You know, very organized, does a great job in recruiting, and is a terrific offensive mind. So I have very little doubt that he'll be successful. Again, we keep in touch more socially and things like that when he's in town in Lexington, and love to, you know, say hi to him from time to time. But on the football end, we really hadn't had time to sit down and talk ball much lately.
Mark, I know that the team that you are going to see in September is not going to be the team you're going to see in October or November. But that said, what do you expect to see, or what do you want to see in that first game, in that opener?
Well, I want to see a team, you know, to come out energetic, passionate, but poised to play a complete game and poised for a great start to the season. We've come out of camp the past couple years in really good shape and very well prepared. We have to make sure we're doing what's necessary early in camp, all through camp, and to be consistent all the way through the season. So I have no doubt that our team will be very passionate, very energetic, and you know, it comes with all the hard work that you've done. You know, and you can only be a confident football team if you put in the time, if you put in the work.
Right here in the middle.
Hey, Coach. Following up on the Neil Brown question. With this being your third offensive coordinator in 3 years, how do you kind of help the team transition through the kind of different play styles that may be there?
Yeah, I think there's all been a lot of similarity in the offenses, but it is different. It's different coaches. They're hearing a different message, and it is different. But, you know, I said it in the main room as well. The only constant in life, whoever said this, but someone once said that the only constant in life is change. And we have to adapt to that. There is change. There's change at every program. You don't like to see that change, certainly with your coordinator year in and year out. But our players have great leadership in Eddie Gran. The styles are not drastically different. And you have quite a few practices to get prepared and ready to go.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.